I'm taking you through a very interesting story that's coming in from Uttar Pradesh, something that we thought would be an issue we want to discuss here tonight, though it's not rampantly followed, but does happen in households. Clearly, it has happened in India, and that's what we are shedding light on tonight. An FIR has been registered in Uttar Pradesh. An FIR has been registered in Amroha by a woman under the Protection of Rights on Marriage Act of 2019. In fact, the law that criminalizes instant triple talaq. So this woman alleges that she got married at the age of 15 and was given instant talaq, triple talaq, twice, and then was pressured repeatedly into Halala so she could return to her former husband. Now, in this girl's written complaint to the police, she says that she was coerced and sexually assaulted under the pretext of Halala, involving multiple people, including her husband, her cousin, and a religious intermediary, in acts that she describes as nothing short of gang rape. And this was happening to a former student. That girl is a former student of Aligarh's leading school, a woman who comes from a family with a background in public service. Her grandfather served as DSP in Uttar Pradesh police, and her father is a lawyer. It's happened to her, educated family, and Halala was being practiced allegedly by her husband. So what is Halala? A quick insight: Halala is a practice which is no more practiced in societies, as far as I know and I understand. It's a practice that happens in some very conservative sections within the Muslim community, where if a man gives divorce to a woman, and if he wants to marry that woman yet again, that woman has to marry another man, consummate that marriage, and only then is she allowed to come back to her ex-husband if she wants to patch up. It survives as a religious custom in very, very remote communities. Well, within the Muslim community itself, very conservative sections who probably still practice it. And we understand here in Uttar Pradesh, this girl has faced it, possibly happening in many other households. So she says, just because he wanted her back yet again, twice over, he got her to consummate with other men, and in one instance, she says she was gang raped and her husband was also involved in that rape. So this is absolutely shattering and heartbreaking, and it's nothing but trickling down through the lens of patriarchy. There is a legal vacuum that's exploited in patriarchal settings, allowing powerful people, like in this setup, husband, community leaders, elders, clerics, all to interpret and enforce these loopholes in a way that subjugates the woman. Why patriarchy really matters here: the FIR highlights how women's agency can be overridden by male authority figures and community norms, especially when legal protections are unclear or absent. The woman's ordeal being forced into repeated halala arrangements and sexual violence underscores how practices tied to marital control can be misused as instruments of exploitation under the guise of tradition. Halala itself is not obligatory under Islamic jurisprudence and is considered forbidden by many scholars, yet in the absence of legal definition, patriarchal interpretations do prevail. Well, the large legal grey area here: India's law criminalizes instant triple talaq but says nothing explicit about halala. The reason being also that halala is not really widely practiced, but clearly here, men, when they want to, misusing it. But this gap really allowing these people to perpetuate this kind of criminal acts, knowing very well that the law does not protect the woman. Let me bring in our panelists on board to give us a little understanding on halala, how this is really how this is being misinterpreted, and whether this is still in practice. Possibly Atikur Rahman, who's an Islamic scholar, could give us a little sense. I also welcome on board Rekha Agarwal, advocate with the Supreme Court. Atikur Rahman, over to you on this. Halala as a practice, as far as I know, is not practiced, but this is a clear case where a woman says she was gang raped by her own husband and her cousin and a cleric. So if this is happening in Uttar Pradesh, probably happening many other places.
Nabila, I have never, done saying that orthodoxy and these patriarchal elements do exist in our community. When the debates were there on triple talaq too, we have said that as far as the religion is concerned, nothing, is there wherein woman is having a secondary position. There is absolute equality of man and woman as far as the Quran is concerned. And Dr. Rafiq Zakaria has come out with a very, very fine book when Benazir Bhutto became the prime minister, and the ulama, the orthodox ulama said that she cannot be a head of the state of a Muslim state. Dr. Rafiq Zakaria, wrote this book saying that how Quran ensures equality of women. So, as far as the religion is concerned, as you rightly said, that it is not allowed. And I do accept the fact that Indian society have such elements, and mainly the ulama, the orthodox elements in our community misguide the Muslims who practice these practices as for their own selfish interest. Now, if we want to really help the community come out of all these patriarchal and misogynist elements, the fine tuning can be done by education, by providing judicial security to the women, which is absent. We are claiming to have a uniform civil code, but in all these 25, 30 years, though the ruling party today is in power since 11 years, they have never come out with a draft resolution what exactly a uniform civil code shall be.
You know, just give me a sense of what is halala, Atikur Rahman. What is halala?
Well, you rightly said in your introduction that when a woman marries and there is a talaq, separation, then it is permitted if by some orthodox elements that if she wants to
Come back to
come back
the.
again to the same husband, she had to consummate the marriage with another person. The same person again gives the talaq to her, and then only it is permitted for the first husband to take her into marriage, which is absolutely unquranic. It is absolutely not allowed, not permitted as far as the religion of Islam and the Quran goes.
So you're saying the Quran does not permit it. Then where did this come from?
From the orthodox element, from the ulama, who are
And this
patriarchal
is
and
what I
misogynist
know
in that
is
thought.
being heavily misused, where where men are, where some orthodox men or whatever, I don't know what to even call them, perpetrators. That's all I can say. They sort of for namesake get them married, just namesake for a day, force the wife, the ex-wife to consummate. And then in the next day they are back to, it's like literally forcing them to have sex with just an unknown man so that they can bring them back as wife. But as far as I know, it's not practiced, but Subuhi Khan can give us more details.
Yeah. Thank you, Nabila ji, for having this debate on such an important subject. Atikur Rahman Saab just said that halala is an un-Quranic practice, which came because of some orthodox or some radical elements. My question to you is, if it is un-Quranic, if it is not part of Islam, but all of us know that it is happening in the name of our religion, all of us are know, then Atikur Rahman Sahab, then why do you not support common civil laws? When we advocate for uniform civil code, common civil laws, then you are the same person who says that you do not agree to common civil laws. We know that many criminal activities and many crimes are happening in the garb of civil laws. This is just one example that we all are seeing and witnessing on national TV. I
Yeah.
have given this example many times. We went to Telangana, and there are some sheikh, 60-year, 70-year-old sheikh, they are doing misyar nikah. They are marrying 12-year, 13-year-old, minor girls in the name of misyar nikah. They are violating POXO Act. And many criminal laws are being violated in the garb of personal laws. Violation of POXO Act, violation of IPC, violation of Domestic Violence Act. So is it something not that we should all raise voice against? And why
Yeah.
why don't you support
You know
common
what?
civil law?
I
Then
don't
that is
think
my
there's any
question.
debate on that. We must raise a voice against it. But I also, Atikur Rahman, would you support a uniform civil code?
Well, Nabila, initially I said, and Subuhi must have joined late on the panel. I said that we are awaiting this government who has in its manifesto since the past, I think, 25 years, that they shall bring a uniform civil code. But the draft at least the draft cannot see the light of the day in these 11 years of the Modi government.
So you're waiting
Yes,
to see it. As far as I
exactly.
understand, you're waiting to see a
And,
draft of the Uniform Civil Code, which means you're positively looking forward to it.
Nabila, Dr. Rafiq Zakaria, who was the foremost world-renowned Islamic scholar, he has said, quoting this book, that if gender justice and gender equality are the aims and purpose of the Uniform Civil Code, most of the Quranic laws giving equality to women shall incorporate the Uniform Civil Code.
Okay. A final question as I have to Rekha Agarwal. Ma'am, on legal terms, there's such a grey area. This girl, there is no triple talaq allowed, but then there's nothing that is really defined about halala. So how does she wade through this?
See, triple talaq has been declared as illegal and unconstitutional, after the Shaira Banu case in 2019. But there is no mention of halala. So it is absolutely just a patriarchal, misogynist custom, which has been, actually forced on women. This is nothing but sexual exploitation. And as far as criminal law is concerned, whenever there is whenever there is no consent, the most important thing that is to be noted is there any consent? Is there any, is she forced into it? So now, in this particular case, the complainant said that she was 15 years of age when she got married. So whether there was consent or not, and whether she was, first of all, it is again under POCSO Act, it becomes, it's an offense, because sexual relations with any girl, who's a minor, that itself is a crime. And then after that, if she has been forced under this abhorrent practice called halala, to have sex with another person who's a stranger. So absolutely, now I'll say two things over here. First of all, consent is missing. And even if consent is there, they can be, it will have to be seen, and under various circumstances, whether there was any societal pressure, whether there was any fear, whether she was coerced to give her consent. So whenever there is any lack of consent in any act, criminal law steps in. And even Article 25 of the Constitution, which gives the right to every Indian citizen to profess the religion of their choice, it is also subject to limitations. That is, it is subject to public order, morality, and health. So all these things are missing in the,
So it will be viewed as a criminal act, as simple as that, plain and simple. That's all I have time for. Thank you very much, our guests, for joining us. I really appreciate that.